One Life to Live, Echo and Giles prepare for their revenge.
Are you going to be able to go through with this?
And for Clint,
they're planning to kill you, son.
time is running out. And on the edge of night, Preacher goes undercover at the video disco. And what he discovers could save Jody's life. One Life to Live, The Edge of Night. Weekdays.
Barbara Barry, star of ABC's Reggie.
At 5.
Management office? Yes. I spoke with you yesterday. My name is Margot Hedgepeth, and I'm interested in renting an office in the ISIS building.
Mrs. Whitney, just what the hell do you...
Yes, that's right. Is your cheapy introductory rate still available? No. The office doesn't have to be big. It can be like just a little closet with a desk, if that's all you have. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Then I'll stop by tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mrs. Whitney, now what's with this Margot?
Be quiet, Gunther. I'll get to you later.
What do you mean, be...
Yes, hello. Is this you, Nanette? Yes, my name is Cynthia Bentley.
What?
I work for Video Times magazine, and I would like to speak to one of your PR people, please. Yes, I can hold.
Dr. Kavanaugh, Mrs. Oakes is here.
Thank you, Amy. Please, have a seat. Mrs. Oakes, I've examined your son. Now, there doesn't seem to be anything physically wrong with him, although an examination in a jail cell for obvious reasons can't be the most thorough possible.
There's nothing wrong with him, then?
I'm afraid I can't say that. Davy does show obvious symptoms of a mental disorder. He became quite violent when I mentioned the district attorney Carr's name.
He isn't violent. He hasn't been violent ever.
My best suggestion to you, Mrs. Oakes, is to allow a psychiatrist to see your son.
No.
I can suggest several of the most prominent...
No, I've changed my mind.
I beg your pardon?
I've changed my mind about getting medical help.
But no, you were right to do so. Davy does need treatment.
No, not from you and not from anybody that you recommend. And I'm not going to need your services any longer. How much do I owe you?
Yes, that's right, Mr. Raft. And I would particularly like to interview Mr. Mayhew. Yes, Video Times magazine. As soon as it would be convenient. Wonderful. That'll be just lovely. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming, Gunther.
Sure. Hey, listen, you're really going to interview the president of the company that's trying to buy out WMON?
Yes.
Why?
Because Stan Hathaway worked for that company, so obviously Mayhew had something to do with those 2 murders and everything else.
Yeah, okay. Listen, why are you trying to rent an office in the ISIS building under a phony name?
Because Schuyler trailed Hathaway's van to the ISIS building. Also, Schenkner, Uppner, and Glick, you know, the brokerage firm that Peter Nevins exposed, had offices there, right?
Right.
So I think that I should investigate.
Okay. So what the hell do you want with me?
These are the bugs that were in Schuyler's study and here in this office and in Nevins' phone.
Yeah?
Do you know any really good electronics expert?
Be more specific.
Each of these little bugs has a manufacturer's number on the back. I want to know who bought them.
Oh, yeah. What does Mr. Whitney know about this? What does he think, huh?
Mr. Whitney is off in Venezuela chasing Spencer Varney, so it's just you and I, Gunther, now. Are you with me? Or not?
The Edge of Night is brought to you by Ivory. For a pure, natural kind of clean, lather up with Ivory. And by High Point Coffee, the coffee lovers decaffeinated.
Writing is a coffee lover's dream. That page took 4 cups. Of course, I drink High Point decaffeinated. I can do without caffeine. So can you. But flavor, never. Delicious. You see, High Point has a special way of capturing flavor. Deep brewed flavor. And that's what every coffee lover wants, right? Deep brewed flavor. I think you'll really go for it.
Deep brewed flavor makes High Point the coffee lovers decaffeinated.
You're gonna love it.
You probably think a guy who does this for a living needs to shower with a deodorant soap. No way, because I made a break from deodorant soaps. A clean break with Ivory. Look inside. Ivory's the basic natural soap to give you an honest clean. Not like most soaps that mix up clean with deodorants or heavy perfumes. That stuff won't get you clean. And besides, if you use a deodorant anyway, who wants one in their soap? Ivory does just what a soap should do. Get me as clean as I can be. So I feel clean, I smell clean, and that's an honest clean.
Make a clean break with Ivory. No soap can get you cleaner, no matter what fancy stuff you try.
Doctor? Mrs. Oakes?
Dr. Kavanaugh, nothing you say is going to make me change my mind.
Surely you want the best for Davy, right?
Yes, of course I do.
Now,
Don't
look,
you
he
say
is
otherwise.
facing a charge of attempted murder. Psychiatric testimony could be very useful to his case.
I don't want your advice or your coffee.
Forgive me, but this sudden change in your attitude...
A person can change her mind, can't she?
Yes, of course. Did somebody help you change it?
What do you mean?
Did somebody advise you not to seek professional help for Davy?
No.
Who was it, Mrs. Oakes?
Please excuse me.
Whoever it was is not a friend of your son's.
Well, how did it go with Emerson?
I gave him a pretty good workout.
You think he's going to be able to handle himself?
Yeah, well, when he's under control, he's fine, but he's very hot-tempered. I don't know. He could go flying off in all different directions.
Great. That's just what we need.
You're not convinced that sending Preacher undercover to the video disco is such a great idea,
Look,
are you?
I've got my doubts about sending any civilian into an undercover operation. All right, I have to admit, though, he does seem to be the likely candidate for the job.
Right now, he's the only one we've got. Since we've already questioned Robbie Hamlin about the equipment that was taken from the research center in California and Davy Oakes, I'm a little afraid that he'll be suspicious if anybody new suddenly shows up.
Yeah, I suppose. And I guess he is on the inside already. All right, I'll swear him in first thing tomorrow.
Good.
Now, Alf Mayhew's coming into town. Well, as a matter of fact, he should be here now.
Does he know what you want to see him about?
Just that I have some questions about Unionet's interest in WMOM, but I'd like you to be here for that meeting.
All right.
Have you had any luck in tracing the helicopter that dropped Hathaway?
No, not yet. None of the markings that you saw from the roof fit anything in this area.
Check and see if Unionet owns any helicopters.
Good idea.
I have now and then, yeah.
I spoke to Miles last night, and I asked him if maybe he'd like to have dinner with us tonight at the Rock Garden.
Oh, you did? Yeah, well, it'll be nice to see Miles tonight.
Look, Derek, I'm just not sure that I'm what you want right now.
Why don't you let me be the judge of that?
Come in.
Thank you, Amy.
Listen, would you like some coffee?
Oh, no, thank you. Maybe later.
Okay.
Cliff, your phone call sounded urgent. Is it Dee Dee?
Oh, no, Dee Dee's fine. She and Calvin had lunch. She practically danced back into the office.
I'm glad to hear it.
You were right. Missing Calvin might have been all that was wrong with her.
Well, then what's on your mind?
Beginning to think maybe that's what's wrong with a few other people in this building. Maybe they're all unlucky in love.
Cliff, what are you talking about?
Remember that secretary that came barging in here claiming that her boss was spying on her?
Yes, and after we talked to her for a few minutes, she quieted down, admitted it was probably her imagination. Why?
Right. All right, now add that to a receptionist down the hall from my office who accused my assistant Marty of spying on her. And then yesterday, this receptionist resigns, accused one of her coworkers of the same thing.
Go on.
Well, a businessman on the 23rd floor comes into my office. He wants to dissolve his partnership because he thinks that his partner is spying on him.
Well, Cliff, I'm sorry. Are you saying there's some connection between these two people?
Well, isn't it weird? I mean, maybe there's something going around.
What do you mean, like the flu? The flu doesn't cause people to go around accusing other people of spying on them.
Well, what about paranoia?
Making garanimals look good isn't good enough, so we use safety stitching to make them last good and long. Fashion counts, but so do fabrics and fasteners you can count on. Garanimals. They're as well made as any kid's clothes at any price. We design them to go together, but we build them to stay together.
Thorogran is so thorough, they ought to call it Thorogran.
That's because Thorogran M from Squibb gives you twice the vitamin A, more than twice the B1, B2, B3, and C of Centrum.
So thorough. They ought to call it Thorogran.
And twice the vitamin A, more than twice the B1, B2, B3, and C of One A Day.
Now that's one thorough multivitamin.
Thorogran is so thorough, they ought to call it Thorogran.
I'm sorry, Cliff, but there's no such thing as what you're describing.
Well, what am I describing?
Despite 3 separate, probably coincidental cases, there's no such thing as contagious paranoia.
Well, why not? I mean, haven't you heard of mass hysteria?
That's totally different.
3 separate cases in the same building.
Yes, I tell you, you know why you've heard of 3 cases in this building? It's because you work in this building, along with several hundred other people. Listen, I'm sorry to deflate your invasion of the body snatchers scenario, Cliff. There are probably 3 people in the Monticello Bank building who feel just like that, and there are probably 3 people in the Valenti building who feel like that. A certain degree of paranoia is a product of these high-pressure, squeezed-together times we live in. We've all felt the breath on the back of our neck at one time or another.
So you're saying it just goes with the territory?
Absolutely. If you can't take it, what you do is just move out of the city and go to some place where the apple blossoms still bloom.
I know what you're saying, Miles, but I
The
think
bottom line is this. You don't catch a mental disorder like you catch a cold. It isn't caused by bacteria or a virus.
I guess you're right.
Well, of course I'm right. What else could it possibly be?
Mayhew, thank you for coming by.
Not at all. I had to be in Monticello on some business anyway.
Please, sit down.
Thank you.
Now, I understand you want to ask me some questions about Uninet's offer to buy WMOM.
Yes, that's right. But first, let me ask you, are you aware of WMON's troubles?
You mean the abysmal ratings, the possibility of an investigation by the FCC? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
But what I don't understand is why Mrs. Saxer refuses to sell. I made her a very fair offer.
More than fair.
Are you familiar with the telecommunications industry, Detective Egan?
No.
Is Uninet still interested in purchasing the station despite the trouble?
Oh, we are. The station's at the top of our acquisition list. We'd already opened an office in Monticello to handle the transfer of the station. Mrs. Saxon's abrupt change of heart came as a total surprise.
What is your local address here, Mr. Mayhew?
9672 Holly Ridge Drive. We're in the ISIS building.
Now, Lisa.
Hello, Cliff.
Gavin. You see Mitzi?
She's in the kitchen.
So,
How's the play going? Box office has dropped off.
I'm sorry to hear that. You know why?
I'm not really sure. But Jodie's performance is slipping. She practically raced through the part last night.
Well, why?
She and Preacher not getting along. I guess that's it.
Gavin, you should have let Mitzi continue on the role of Elvira.
Don't start that again, Cliff.
I gotta tell you what I feel.
Why? Where is it written that you have to say what you feel? How about keeping it inside for once, huh?
Keep it inside, I'll get ulcers.
So instead you give everyone else one.
The truth hurts, doesn't it?
Cliff, how would you like a beer shampoo?
I think I better go find Mitzi.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Eberhardt. Somebody who can track down some serial numbers for me.
Operator, I've been holding for 15 minutes now.
Oh, no, sir. Hey, no, not the bug that you saw me. Cement overcoats, the river. Now, look, Mr. Eberhardt, you don't need to threaten me.
Sky! Oh, baby, is it you? You sound like you're talking through cellophane.
Oh, come on now, you can trust me. Now, look,
Yeah?
how much is it going to cost to find a guy like that, huh? Hey, come on, Mo, hey! Haven't you heard, man? Inflation's easing off.
The static is terrible. What? Oh, don't worry. I'm being good.
Okay.
How's Venezuela?
Right. Look, Mr. Eberhardt.
Yeah?
You got a deal.
What's this guy's name? Yeah, I know. The cement overcoat, the river.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll pay.
Okay, look, we can't talk anymore. I love you. Bye-bye.
Okay, I got it, Mo. Listen, and thanks a lot, okay? How's Mr. Whitney doing?
Well, he reached Milagua. That's where Spencer was supposed to be working for this oil person, and he's going to start hunting for him tomorrow. Here you go.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that I'm really glad you came over.
Oh, well, it's okay. You know, good old Doc and call me Jim. Well, they're off to New Zealand tomorrow, so I got lots of free time. I got the name of a guy there who'll help you track down those listening devices.
Good.
Pardon me. I was looking for Walter Gann's detective agency, but the door said Whitney and Whitney consultations.
Yes, how do you do? Please come in. Unfortunately, Walter Gans died this summer.
Well, then I'm sorry to have bothered you.
No bother at all. You see, my associate and myself bought the agency from the estate. I'm Mrs. Raven Whitney. This is Mr. Wagner, our operative.
Mr. Wagner, Dora Coburn.
Yep. How do you do?
Please, sit down. Now, what can we do for you, Mrs. Coburn?
How do you know I'm married?
Your wedding ring.
But I've got gloves on.
Oh, yes, well, I noticed the bulge. Let's see, 3.5 to 4 carats?
3.7, that's remarkable.
Detectives are trained to be observant, right, Mr. Wagner?
Yeah, right, Mrs. Whitney. Hey, listen, we don't miss a trick.
So tell me, how can we be of service?
One little spot of greasy dirt? Most cleaners full of strength could handle it. But my kitchen gets greasy dirt everywhere. So I clean by the bucket with Top Job. No leading liquid in a bucket's better. Now take pine oils. They're okay full strength. But pour them in water like I do and look. Top Job cleans the toughest greasy dirt better.
Top Job cleans better by the bucket. Look for great values on Top Job, now in the fall cleaning display at your store.
Scope presents The Way It Was.
Mom, mouthwash tastes like medicine. If it didn't, it wouldn't work.
Henry believed it. Today, he still does.
Henry, try Minty Scope. Tastes good.
Then it doesn't work.
Scope works. Don't let the good taste fool you. Try. For me?
Minty.
Fresh breath that lasts. And you did it all for me.
Scope works. Don't let the good taste fool you.
Grandma, you make pork chops just like my mommy.
But we end up with the same yucky grease.
My mommy uses Dawn.
Can Dawn handle this mess?
My mommy loves it.
Dawn breaks up grease, takes it away, helps keep it away, so even that last forgotten glass looks clean.
Glass doesn't feel greasier now than in my hands. Your mommy's right about Dawn.
My mommy's right about everything.
Oh. Dawn takes grease out of your way.
Mrs. Whitney, my son Malcolm Coburn II has gotten himself engaged to a lovely girl of uncertain background. And, well, we are from a wealthy family of quite a social position, you understand.
Oh, I understand all about positions, Mrs. Coburn.
Well, Malcolm's father and I wish to make quite sure that the girl is what she claims.
Which is?
Well, the daughter of an equal breeding.
Oh, you can't be too careful these days. People are constantly trying to be what they're not.
Sorry, it must be something I ate.
Mrs. Coburn, I would love to help you find out about your son's fiancée. What is her name?
Grace. Grace Thomas.
Okay, and do you have a picture and an address?
Yes, I have an address, and here's a recent picture.
Wonderful.
Now, how much is your fee?
$250 a day plus expenses.
Well, that's satisfactory. Here's $1,000.
1,000?
If you have a stomach problem, Mr. Wagner, you can use the restroom down the hall.
No, listen, I'm going to be all right.
Well, can you send me an itemized account, please?
Oh, I certainly will. And don't worry, you can trust Whitney and Whitney.
Oh, I'm sure I can. Mr. Wagner, I hope you feel better. Mrs. Whitney?
Goodbye, Mrs. Coburn.
Bye.
Quiet now, Mrs. Whitney, you can't do this.
For $1,000, I can do anything.
Well, you don't have a license.
I'm studying.
It's not the same thing.
Here, will that cover expenses for you finding this electronics expert? Now, what's his name?
Smith. His number's on the pad over there by the telephone. So listen, do you know that in one single day that you have impersonated a person who's going to rent an office in the ISIS building, a reporter of the Video Times magazine, and a special investigator? Don't you think you're going just a little bit too far? What's that, another 100?
Take it.
Well, what for?
Don't worry so much.
Mr. Mayhew, are you familiar with the recent murder of the newscaster, Nicole Cavanaugh?
I hardly think I'd choose the word familiar, but I'd heard of it, of course.
The murderer has been found. Stan Hathaway, the news director. But unfortunately, he fell to his death while trying to escape the other day.
I'm aware of that.
Are you also aware that before he joined WMON, Hathaway worked for your company?
Is that what this is all about?
In a word, yes.
Of course I knew Hathaway worked for Uninet. I know every member of my company by his or her first name. But surely you're not suggesting that Uninet is culpable for the actions of its former employees? That's an absurd idea.
Is it? Stan Hathaway got his job at WMON apparently by running down his predecessor in a van, although I may never be able to prove that now.
He pushed for Peter Nevin's advancement, and he killed Nicole because she was in Nevin's way. Now, when Peter and WMON were riding high on a series of exclusive stories, that Hathaway helped feed Nevin's. The bottom fell out. One of the stories was proven to be false.
And WMON may never rise above this loss of credibility.
Now, you come marching in here before the final story was disproved.
With an offer to buy WMON. Rather amazing timing, wouldn't you say, Mr. Mayhew?
Are you suggesting that I ordered Hathaway to join WMON so he could ruin the company and force Mrs. Saxon to sell to me?
Well, it sounds plausible, don't you think?
Not to me it doesn't. Of course, that would mean I knew Hathaway ran over the former news director. What was his name?
Earl Fisher.
And also that I knew he killed Mrs. Kavanagh and that sleuth fella.
Walter Gantz.
The evidence is at least suggestive.
My dear sir, I know nothing about any murders. It is not an accepted business practice to kill people. Now, I simply came here to Monticello in good faith to buy a TV station.
And why do you persist in trying to buy WMON when Geraldine Saxon has refused to sell?
I'm under orders.
Orders? Well, I thought you were the president of Uninet.
And the chairman of the board.
Then who gives you orders?
The corporate structure of my company is none of your business.
Please, may I just ask one more question? You say you're familiar with the names of all your employees?
I'm very proud of that fact, yes.
Does that mean that you've actually met each one of them?
Yeah.
Well, then you can tell us which one of your employees walks with a limp.
Gooey chocolate chip cookies, butter pecan ice cream, and mashed potatoes with country fried gravy. I love them. And that's why I love Sweet and Low. If you're gonna splurge, you gotta pay, right? Well, this makes it a lot easier for me and about 29 million other people. It tastes great. It's been around for years, and it has just 2 little calories per teaspoon. Now, you could pay a lot more for another sugar substitute. But why would you want to do a thing like that?
Wherever you go, Sweet and Low. Infants only, toddlers only, boys only, girls only. Look at me, there is no one exactly like me. Infants only. Look at me, growing up wearing clothes just for me. Toddlers only. Look at me, boys only. I'm the one and the only. Look at me, girls only.
Mix and match separates at popular prices. On Ryan's Hope.
Thank you. For a wonderful evening.
Bill and Siobhan give in to the moment.
Thank you.
And desire turns into passion. Ryan's Hope.
You know, I don't think that Mayhew knew that Hathaway had killed anyone, or even that he was making it easier to buy WMON.
Yeah, I agree, but what I can't figure out is who would have the power to manipulate a man who is both president and chairman of the board of his own company.
He can't be the only owner.
All right, so what we need is a list of all employees, shareholders, and corporate executives of Uninet.
Okay, I'll start on that tomorrow. Boy, you know, he sure reacted when you mentioned the limping man, didn't he?
He sure did. I think he knows exactly who we were talking about. He was scared to say anything.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi. Sorry I'm late. I'm glad you're here now. Now we can stop talking shop and change the subject.
Yeah, well, I've got a crazy one for you.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Cliff Nelson believes he has uncovered a new strain of contagious paranoia.
No.
It's true.
You know, that's what I like about Miles.
What?
Whenever you're talking to him, you never get weather or astrological signs.
No, it's always something unique.
Well, do you want to hear about this one or
Yes,
not?
yes.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Robbie, are you sure Dr. Kavanaugh is trying to help the police convict my son? He seems like such a nice man.
Well, like the song says, don't let the smile deceive you, Mrs. Oakes. Believe me, the worst thing for Davy right now is for him to see a psychiatrist. Here, I want you to take this, okay?
Oh, no, I
No, really, please, please take it. It'll help you through the hard times, okay? That's right. And Robbie knows what's best, right, Mrs. Oakes?
Fantastic! Look how fast Fantastic cuts through this greasy dirt. As easy as that.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
Fantastic cuts through tough dirt so fast. For most jobs, you can't clean any easier. It's so easy. It's just fantastic. It's so easy.
Perfect. Of course, we'll need a bigger tree.
Gracious, whatever for?
Oh, gonna make a movie, Keebler, all about your club crackers, the saltine story.
Oh, they're not saltines. We give our club crackers a rich, distinctive taste that's a step above saltines.
Stupendous! This is gonna be big! Club crackers, a step above saltines.
Made by elves.
Elves? No, we're thinking big!
Keebler Club Crackers, a taste that's a step above saltines.
Tonight, following The Fall Guy, a young girl learns about love the hard way when she finds out the truth about her birth, while a young man learns about love from an older woman on Two Marriages. Then Alexis sabotages Crystal's plans on Dynasty. Tonight on ABC.
News is really a mirror held up to society. It shows us who we are, how we are, and what we're doing.
We bring you face to face with the world. ABC's World News Tonight, weeknights with Peter Jennings.
I've gone from just soup to new soup to pasta.
Brimming with pasta from Chef Boyardee. New soup to pasta. Taste the delicious difference.
It's like homemade.
And from Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock this afternoon, murder in an exclusive Long Island suburb. The victim, a 20-year-old girl, will have the latest on the hunt for the killer here in New York. Also, organized crime and the big new crackdown by the FBI. We'll talk live with the Assistant FBI Director here in New York about the FBI's war against the mob. And the big lineup of would-be stars today at Studio 54, and our guest, Barbara Berry, the star of the ABC.
Which iced tea mix has no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial nothing?
Clearly Nestea, cold, crisp, clean, crisp. Clearly Nestea, clear, fresh, cool, wet. Let's get Nestea. Splish splash, a pure blast. Naturally zesty, clearly Nestea.
Nestea iced tea mix has no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial nothing.
Thirsty witch tea, clearly Nestea.
Tonight, following the fall guy, 2 marriages, the pain of first romance,
This girl is a man-eater.
and forgotten feelings break the child's heart.
Shelby,
Your father loves you. I can't do anything right around him.
Just because we didn't plan you doesn't mean we didn't want you.
I don't believe you. Why should I?
I loved you before I ever saw you.
You wish I'd never been born. Say it.
Then, deception runs wild on Dynasty, all starting at 8, 7 Central and Mountain tonight.